Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the long-awaited follow-up to the 2018 Into the Spider-Verse film. When this first came out, it was still in theaters when The Flash came out, and for some reason everybody was comparing the two movies because they, both had elements of the multiverse. But it wasn't really fair to compare them. Needless to say, I finally have seen this movie and I like it just as much as The Flash, believe it or not. So let's get cracking. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse continues the story, focusing on Miles Morales and all of the rest of the Spider-Men and ladies across the Spider-Verse. When the ever-elusive and nefarious Spot shows up in town claiming he'll ruin Miles' life, Miles must turn to the Spider-Verse again and join the ranks of an underground team of Spider-Men led by Spider-Man 2099. Right off the bat, I gotta say that this film is indeed solid. When one's forced to compare the first and the second film, I think that a lot of people might have a difficult time doing that because in similar and different ways, this is just as good as the first. But I also think that because the first movie has a more contained story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, that one has to take the cake for me. But truthfully, that's the only reason why I prefer the first film. Because this is a two-parter though, it ends on a cliffhanger, so there's no real resolution. None of the problems that were introduced here are fixed. That makes for a very, very long movie without solving literally anything. Instead, I would argue that this film is much more about character depth and fan service multiverse moments, which as a Spider-Man fan, I have to admit that I loved catching all the references. There were so many in there that I couldn't catch every single one. There's a lot going on in the background from multiple viewings, so that was a lot of fun, as was the action, as was the artistic direction, which this movie has a very strong handle on, if not even better than the first. There's also a deeper emotional weight for these characters' foundations, and the message at the heart of the film is all about letting go of your pride and ego, all the while remembering to stand your ground. Development-wise, this film is mighty, but story-wise, it's incomplete. They had a good idea and a good thing going on with this villain known as the Spot, but he does kind of disappear for a really long time, like more than an hour long. But because you're so invested in that Spider-Man 2099 storyline and what they're all about, the pacing doesn't really bother you unless you actually sit down and think about how long the Spot does disappear for. And then you're just kind of like, what? Oh, I get it now. They wanted to make a two-parter, so you can't have too much of this villain in one movie. No. Let's save all the good stuff with that character for the third movie. Despite that though, one of the standout things in this film is the soundtrack by Daniel Pemberton. I've been noticing more and more often with this guy that he's a composer to keep your eye on. He's moving up in the world. There's so many iconic moments in this film with just the original score alone that really got me moving and grooving. But again, the simplicity of that first movie and the fact that it was self-contained, I cannot help but rate that higher, but not that much higher. Mind you, the first Spider-Verse film I rated 95% or an A-letter grade, but I also rated this an A-letter grade, but only 94%, 94 out of 100 possible stars, which is just 1% lower than the first movie. But I also rated The Flash 94%, so like I said, I do enjoy this just as much as The Flash. But if you're wondering where I rank this as specifically a Spider-Man movie, I have it currently in fourth best place. Because right above it at 95%, there's a tie between Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 2. And in first place, the best Spider-Man movie in my head is without a doubt No Way Home. You just can't beat that. You got Toby in there and Andrew and Tom, and oh my goodness, you just can't beat that. This may or may not be a little bit of a short, sweet, and to the point review, but hey, sometimes that's just how I roll. What about you guys though? Have you seen Across the Spider-Verse? If so, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. Do you prefer this one, or do you like the first movie more? Let me know, and as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.